What's up, guys? Guys, time. The Prize is back. The Prize is here. I hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. We had a lot of sports going on. You had the division around the playoffs. Last night, we had the college football playoff national championship game between the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Ohio State won. We'll get to that in a couple seconds. But yeah, it was a huge weekend of sports. Unfortunately, if you live in Michigan, any Detroit sports team this past weekend, Saturday, you had the Pistons losing, you had the Red Wings losing, and unfortunately, we had the Detroit Lions. A very disappointing loss for them, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, we had UFC 311 as well, so lots of sports on. I hope you guys enjoyed it. But yeah, we got to talk about this national championship game between the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. So two iconic football programs in college football. Ohio State winning their 7th national championship in their program's history. They won last night 34-23. I mean, they dominated this game. I mean, it was a late comeback, almost a late comeback by the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They were showing fight. They were showing some heart. They were trying to come back, but a little too late. I mean, they didn't capitalize on opportunities early in that game. Ohio State was just running that ball all over them, and then that passing game of Ohio State's was unbelievable, and it's been unbelievable all season long for the Ohio State Buckeyes. But yeah, they end up winning this one against Notre Dame 34-23. It's Ryan Day's first national championship in his career at Ohio State, so congratulations to him. All the scrutiny he's getting, oh, it can't beat Michigan, but he silenced those critics real quick, winning the national championship. It's their first one since 2014, and that was the debut of the college football playoff format. So Ohio State, been 10 years since they last won the national championship, so good for them. It's going to be an interesting season, when Ohio State and Michigan once again meet each other, this time in Ann Arbor next season. It's going to be interesting how they're going to write that one up. So you had that going on. So I want to talk about the rushing game real quick because, Ohio State's passing attack has been the best, in my opinion, all season long. Of all the teams in college football, their passing attack has been tremendous. Will Howard is an amazing quarterback. He's an amazing athlete. He's got great receivers. When you got Jeremiah Smith, a true freshman who killed it this year, he led the Big Ten in touchdown receptions as a true freshman. May I remind you, a true freshman. He led all the Big Ten in receiving touchdowns. That's absolutely phenomenal. He's a great athlete. You got Carnell Tate, who had a big game last night. You got Ibuka. He came back his senior year trying to beat Michigan. Didn't happen, but he's a great wide receiver as well. He's probably going to be a first-round draft pick. But that's what Ohio State does. They develop wide receivers. I mean, look at all the wide receivers in years past, right? Let's go back to even the good old days. You got Michael Thomas, great wide receiver. Ted Ginn Jr., I mean, that's going way back. Michael Jenkins, way back. And then obviously in previous years, you got Garrett Wilson, you got Chris Olave, you got Jackson Smith and Najibba, and now you got this whole roster of wide receivers, and Will Howard just has all those weapons. So we talk about the passing attack a lot for Ohio State, but it was more about their rushing attack last night. Rushing for Ohio State, 214 yards versus Notre Dame's 53. Completely dominated the running game, completely controlled the game, exhausted Notre Dame's defense. 214 yards rushing versus 53 for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. So, I mean, you're going to win 10 times out of 10 with that stat. I mean, you control the clock. I mean, you dictate the pace of that game. And that's what Ohio State did, and they did a tremendous job with the running game. Quinshon Judkins, 11 carries, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was a big asset last night in that championship game. He had a hell of a game, so good for him. Jeremiah Smith, as I mentioned, a true freshman wide receiver for Ohio State. 5 receptions, 88 yards, a touchdown in this game. And then he caught a crucial 3rd and 11 late in the fourth quarter to set up a game-winning field goal for the Ohio State Buckeyes. At that point, it was 31-23 Ohio State. So, Notre Dame, like I mentioned earlier, they were trying to make that comeback. They were trying to, make it exciting. But 3rd and 11, gutsy call by Ohio State, very gutsy call. You could have just ran up the middle, shed some time off the game clock. But you know what? We're going to throw it. We're going to give it to our quarterback, Will Howard, who's been great all season. 3rd and 11, late in the fourth quarter, you give it to your best receiver, in this case, Jeremiah Smith, and he catches it. A great catch, sealed the deal. Like I said, set up the game-winning field goal for Ohio State, and then they ended up winning 34-23 against the Fighting Irish. So that was amazing, right? You had that going on. And then Will Howard in this game, 17 for 21, so 4 incompletions. Amazing, right? 231 yards passing, 2 touchdowns in this game for Will Howard. I mean, guy's been great all season. You know me, I'm a Michigan fan, but you gotta give credit where credit's due. Yeah, do we hate Ohio State? Absolutely. Do they hate us? Sure. Dude, yeah, I hate Ohio State, they hate us, but you gotta recognize talent where it is, and he's got it. He's got a bunch of talent. So great game last night for Will Howard. But now we gotta go on the flip side. We gotta go to Notre Dame side, give them the credit a little bit. Riley Leonard, quarterback for Notre Dame, 22 for 31, 255 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then he had 17 carries for 40 yards and a rushing touchdown. So this guy, he was on a mission to win the national championship. You can't take anything away from Riley Leonard. Hell of a game from him, but it was just that defense of Notre Dame could not stop Ohio State's offense, high-powered offense. Like I said, passing game all season long was great, but it was more about the running game last night for Ohio State, and Notre Dame couldn't stop them. You couldn't stop them any time in the game. I mean, it was just a complete domination by Ohio State against that Notre Dame defense. So you had that. And then Jeremiah Love, running back for Notre Dame. He had 4 carries for 3 yards. 4 carries for 3 yards. This is your best offensive player, arguably. And that's the stat line. For a national championship game, you have to get your best players involved. They failed to do that. So you had that going on. And then Notre Dame, they got the ball first. Their first drive of the game, 18 plays. 18. I mean, if you're Ohio State's defense, I mean, one, that's pathetic. I don't know how you don't stop Notre Dame, especially early in the game. And then number 2, you got to be exhausted. 18 plays for 75 yards in almost 10 minutes. And that was the first possession of the game. 18 plays, guys, for Notre Dame on their first offensive possession of the game. It's the most consecutive plays or the most starts for offensive series in college football playoff game history. And then on top of that, Will Howard had 13 straight completions, which is the most completions to start a championship game all time. So a lot of records last night in this one. But 18 plays for Notre Dame, and they couldn't capitalize on that. They ended up losing this one. Crazy. So yeah, 18 plays, 75 yards, 9 minutes, 45 seconds. Notre Dame's first drive of the college football playoff national championship game. But Ohio State bounced back and they win this one. And like I said, the first championship since 2014. That was the first season of the college football playoff format. Obviously, Ohio State had a great team that year, led by Urban Meyer. Unbelievable. So Ohio State wins this one. They're the national champions. They're college football's best team. So now we gotta wait. College football is done. It's over with. So we'll see what happens next year. Hopefully Michigan can beat these guys again and maybe compete for a national championship. With this 12-team playoff, it's going to be much tougher now versus the 4-team format that was that we've been used to seeing for many years. But yeah, not the greatest game because Ohio State dominated. Late comeback by Notre Dame, but obviously it was a little too late. But Ohio State, man, the Big Ten, the national championship stays in the Big Ten. Michigan winning it last year and then Ohio State winning it this year. So going to be an interesting storyline next year when these two go at it, Michigan and Ohio State, an iconic rivalry game. But yeah, congrats to Ohio State. Enjoy it while it lasts. And, Michigan, go blue. Got to get ready for next year. So, national championship game. I hope you guys watched it, play some bets. Not, like I said, not the most exciting game, but Ohio State just dominated on all parts of that game. They dominated. So, you have that going on. Now we got to hop over to this divisional round of the NFL playoffs. Man, this past weekend was bunch of emotions, mixed emotions. I mean, highs and lows. It was unbelievable. But we got to talk about the first game, Saturday, 4:30. It was the Chiefs and the Texans in the divisional round. So the Chiefs win this one, 23-14. They go to their seventh straight AFC Championship game. And Patrick Mahomes, as a starter for the Kansas City Chiefs, he has never missed an AFC Championship game. So Since he became the starter for the Kansas City Chiefs, he's always competed in the AFC Championship game. Look, we can bash on Patrick Mahomes, or you can love him as much as you want, but to never miss an AFC Championship game as a starter, bro, that is unbelievable. It's insane. Great, good for him. And now he's got to go up against the Bills and Josh Allen, so that's going to be a very interesting game. Very interesting storyline there. But to never miss a AFC Championship game for Patrick Mahomes as a starter, unreal. So you got that, and then the rushing game. We got to talk about the rushing game again for this contest. So listen to this. So rushing, the Texans dominated the running game. 149 yards for the Texans and only 50 rushing yards for Kansas City. 50. And they still win this one. They still win this one by 9 points. Crazy. And then they had 0 turnovers. The Texans did, and they still lost. And then that goes to my next point. Texans, they outgained the Chiefs in this one. Total yards 336 to 212. 200. So by 224 yards, the Texans outgained the Chiefs in this one. 0 turnovers, and they lose. And it's the first team to ever have that stat line and lose. Previous teams who did this, outgained their opponents, and had 0 turnovers, they were 49-0 when they had that stat line. So Texans outgained the Chiefs, right? And they had 0 turnovers. So you're winning the total yards battle. Turnovers had 0. The Chiefs had 0 too. So a turnover-less game, I guess if you want to call it. And then you lose. The first team to ever do that. And then previously, teams who had that stat line were 49-0 in the postseason. So if you're the Texans, one, that's embarrassing. That's sad. I mean, you have to be really, really, really frustrated that happened. I mean, 0 turnovers against the Chiefs? Dude, that's a gimme. How do you not take advantage of that? Well, we'll get into that in a little bit, but I mean, if you're the Texans, if you're the fans, I mean, that is just a kick in the nuts. It truly is. You outgained the Chiefs, who's won back-to-back Super Bowls, right? The defending Super Bowl champs, and you have 0 turnovers, right? And you lose by 9 on the road. Unreal. But we got to go to the Texans' drives. So these were their offensive drives in the game. So the first drive, field goal, punt, missed field goal, another field goal, a touchdown, but they missed the extra point on that touchdown. Downs. They went for it on a 4th and 10 at their own 44-yard line, which I get it. You're down. It's the playoffs. You win, you move on. You lose, you go home. But I don't know. I wasn't too. What's the word I'm looking for? I wasn't really too confident in that decision by DeMeco Ryan, the head coach for the Texans, to make that play call. But you had that going on, and then a punt, and then a blocked field goal. So Kaimi Fairbairn, the kicker for the Texans, did not have a great game this game. You miss a field goal, you had a field goal block, you miss an extra point. That's points off the board, dude. And you can't do that, especially against the Chiefs, but you can't do that in the playoffs. You need those points. Those points are crucial in those situations, and you're just giving away points at that point. So missed field goals, blocked field goals, going for it on a questionable 4th and 10 at your own 44-yard line. I didn't know you guys were Dan Campbell. I'm pretty sure he's the head coach for the Detroit Lions. He's not the head coach for the Houston Texans. That's DeMeco Ryan's department. But that was really questionable, really suspect there. So the Texans, field goals are not going to win you the game. I hate this. I mean, it's a different game now. You have to score 7. Field goals might give you some breathing room, maybe. But at the end of the day, you got to score 7. 7's a hell of a lot better than 3. And then you understand maybe why Dan Campbell goes for a lot on 4th down. But it's the playoffs. You can't have points taken off the board. You got to make field goals. You got to get the extra points. And Kaimi Fairbairn wasn't able to do that. So he had that. And then C.J. Stroud. He was sacked 8 times in this game by the Kansas City Chiefs. 8. So the offensive line in Houston, what the hell were you doing? Why are you not protecting your franchise quarterback? You got to give him time. He got sacked 8 times. You're the Texans, man. You're not going to, well, even the Texans, I don't care who you are. Your quarterback gets sacked 8 times. You're not going to have a lot of success. And they showed. They lost. They lost that game. So 0 turnovers by the Texans, 0 turnovers by the Chiefs. Keep that in mind because that's going to be a theme in this episode today. So, and Kansas City Chiefs move on. They're playing their 7th straight AFC Championship game against the Buffalo Bills. So now the next game. Yeah, I mean, you guys already know where I'm going with this. The Lions and the Commanders. And I said it last week on the podcast. I told you guys, don't sleep on Jayden Daniels. Don't sleep on this team. Do not sleep on this team. I think a lot of people overlook the Commanders in this one. A lot of people are saying, oh, yeah, I can't wait till we go to the Super Bowl. I can't wait to, compete in the NFC Championship game. Nah, one game at a time, man. That's a horrible mindset. That is a horrible, mentality. One game at a time, dude. You can't look ahead. And I think that was part of the reason. I mean, I have many reasons why the Detroit Lions lost Saturday night against the Commanders. I think that was one reason. The Commanders were being overlooked. They weren't being respected. I mean, when the Lions are almost they're double-digit favorites almost against the Commanders. A lot of people are going to overlook the Commanders, but they played a hell of a game. Jayden Daniels, rookie quarterback, entering a hostile environment at Ford Field. It's loud. It didn't faze him one bit. He had a great game. We'll get to that in a little bit. But the Commanders win this one. Very disappointing for the Lions. Commanders win 45-31. They head to their first NFC Championship game since 1991. So it would be 1992 when they competed in that NFC Championship game. And they beat the Lions out of all the teams, right? They beat the Lions in this NFC Championship game over 30 years ago, 41-10. So a lot different this time, but, it seems like they have our numbers, and the Commanders do, when we compete in the playoffs. I mean, unreal, right? So congrats to the Commanders. Different team, different blood in the NFC Championship game. They're going up against the Eagles. That's going to be an interesting one. But Commanders, man, they were flawless in this game. But now we got to talk about the Lions' opening drive, right? Okay, so the game starts. Dude, the Washington kicker kicked it out of bounds. It's an automatic 40-yard. We get the ball automatically at the 40-yard line. We have the advantage already. We have great field position. Why not take advantage of it? How do you not take advantage of that? 3 and out, dude. David Montgomery. So that's another thing, too. Why are we starting the game with David Montgomery instead of Jahmyr Gibbs? Jahmyr Gibbs has had a hot hand for over a month, ever since David Montgomery went down with a knee injury against Buffalo. Why do you not start the game with Jahmyr Gibbs? Let him set the tone. This guy was great. Look at his stat line for this game. 14 carries, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns. The fact that he only had 14 carries, what the hell were we doing? Why are we shying away from that running game? Jahmyr Gibbs has been phenomenal all season. Even when David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs were together. Even when David Montgomery was hurt. Jahmyr Gibbs was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, look at these 3 games. The 3 games when David Montgomery was hurt, he didn't play. Jahmyr Gibbs stepped up. So the Bears, because the Buffalo Bills game happened, and then they had to go against the Bears, San Francisco, and Minnesota. So the Bears game for Jahmyr Gibbs went after David Montgomery got hurt. 23 carries, 109 yards, a touchdown. San Fran the following week, 18 carries, 117 yards, a touchdown. Then the following week, the game that actually mattered, because if we beat Minnesota, we're not only the number 1 seed, but we win the NFC North division again, back-to-back years. First time in franchise history to ever do that. And then get our 15th win of the season, which is most in franchise history. So Minnesota game, 23 carries, 139 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So this guy has scored a touchdown every single game that he's carried the ball. And he's carrying it 18 times, 23 times, 23 times. This game, he only carried it 14 times. What the hell was that? What kind of play call? What kind of game plan are we doing here? So for David Montgomery to start this game, first possession of the game for the Detroit Lions, you're going to have him run the ball instead of Jahmyr Gibbs. especially since David Montgomery hasn't played in over a month with a bad knee injury. So you kind of question, should he have been in this game? I don't think so. I think you rest him. Let Jahmyr Gibbs carry the load. It's been working. It worked all season long. It worked when David Montgomery went down. Jahmyr Gibbs stepped up in a huge way. Huge. And you give it to David Montgomery. So the Lions opening drive, David Montgomery, 2-yard rush. Second play, -5 on a running play. And then an incomplete pass by Jared Goff. And then we got to punt the ball after we started the possession at our 40-yard line because Washington's kicker kicked it out of bounds. So we have the possession already. Take advantage of it. You got to get points. No, 3 and out. We got to punt it to them. So at that point, I kind of knew this was going to be a very interesting game. If we can't take advantage of great field position, I mean, they gave us that. It was a gimme. 40-yard line, and you're telling me you can't march down the field like you've been all season long, the highest scoring offense in the NFL, and you can't take advantage of that? No excuse. That was unbelievable. So that was the Lions' opening drive, and you kind of knew at that point it was going to be interesting. I knew. So you had that. And then Washington, their drive, they go for it on a 4th and 1. And then we stopped them on that 4th and 1. Marcus Mariota tried running up the middle, and we stuffed them. We stopped them on a 4th and 1. You know, it's 0-0 at this point. Lots of confidence. The energy is great. And then our next possession for the Detroit Lions, they score a touchdown. It's 7-0 Detroit. Awesome. Great. Jahmyr Gibbs scored that touchdown, by the way. But, dude, that was awesome. And then all of a sudden, you know, all this energy, all this hype, I mean, we have the mojo. We got good vibes going. And then all of a sudden, all that came crashing down. All of a sudden, it got real ugly real fast. I mean, a complete crap show everywhere you see. So Jared Goff, obviously we got to talk about him. 3 turnovers by this guy, 5 total for the Detroit Lions. You're not going to win games with 5 turnovers. I mean, the only outlier to that, Houston, Sunday Night Football, earlier in the season, Jared Goff, 5 interceptions, and we won by 3 points. We won on a game-winning field goal. But this is the playoffs. And I said it last week on the podcast. Regular season and playoff football, 2 completely different situations. 5 turnovers in this game. In the playoffs, you're not going to have success. But Jared Goff, he fumbles the ball. That's his first turnover, which led to a Washington touchdown. He has a pick 6, points, touchdown. And then he has an interception in the end zone before halftime to Jameson Williams. Dude, if you threw it a couple of feet in front of him, it's a touchdown. No, you throw it behind him, and Washington picks it off. So you had that. And like I said, that was towards the end of the second quarter, before halftime. And then total, Jared Goff had 3 interceptions in this game and 1 fumble loss, which led to a touchdown. And then a pick 6. So all these turnovers led to points. Can't do that. It's a recipe for disaster. You're not going to have success. It was a boneheaded play by Jared Goff. He just didn't have the best game. This was probably one of the worst games I've seen him play. I honestly, truly believe that this game was worse than the 5 interception game against Houston in the regular season. Because at least the regular season, you have a chance next week to bounce back, which he did. But in the playoffs, dude, like you have to understand, you win, you keep going. You're competing in the NFC Championship game. You're second one, back-to-back years. But then you lose, you're done. You're cleaning out your lockers and you're done for the season. So it was a horrible game. It was a bad game by Jared Goff. I mean, it's heartbreaking because after everything he's done this year, and then to show up in the divisional round of the playoffs against the Commanders at home and play like absolute garbage, not good. And then Jameson Williams. I think you already know where I'm going with this. When the season's on the line, you're down by 10. It's 38-28, 10 and a half minutes or 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. You let Jameson Williams, who is a talented athlete, who's fast, who's reliable on the field. Key phrase there, on the field, reliable on the field. Off the field, he's not the brightest person. He's not the brightest bulb in the bunch. But when the season's on the line, you're down by 10. You're trying to make a play. You need a touchdown. Field goal's not going to do you any good. You need a touchdown. You allow this guy to throw the ball. Okay? No. In that situation, no. You do not let this guy throw the ball on a third down, by the way. And he throws it right to Mike Sainristil, a rookie defensive back out of the University of Michigan. Go Blue. One of the best defensive backs in the playoffs right now. He threw it right to him. Dude, that receiver was double covered. Throw it away. Why are you trying to force a play when it's not there? And why are we giving Jameson Williams the ball to throw instead of run? Use his legs. He's not a passer. What was Ben Johnson thinking? What kind of dumb play call was that? I mean, it was the most ridiculous play call I've ever seen. Especially when he threw the interception. Like, at that point, just throw it away. I would have been more happy, more satisfied if he threw it away. No, you throw it right to Mike Sainristil for an interception. I think they end up scoring on that drive too. So all these turnovers led to points for Washington. And I said it earlier, Washington got overlooked by everybody. So season's on the line. You give it to Jameson Williams. Not the brightest bulb in the bunch. Can't really rely on him to throw the ball. I mean, in terms of catching the ball and running, sure. Absolutely. But of how immature he is on the field, you know, all the sportsmanlike conduct penalties he's gotten this year, the stuff he's been doing off the field, getting in trouble. Season's on the line, and you let this guy throw the damn ball. Inbounds, interception by Mike Sainristil. Instead of throwing it away. Like, what was Jameson Williams trying to do there? Force a play that wasn't there. And that interception, it cost them. It led to a touchdown for Washington. So, stupid. Very stupid play call. It was asinine. Ben Johnson, yeah, congratulations. You got your head coaching gig with Chicago. Have fun with that. But that play call, very ignorant. So that happened. I'm still trying to process that because that was like the most ignorant thing I ever seen in my life. Season's on the line, you give it to your wide receiver who has a lot of character issues. But whatever, you know, hey, you got to do something, right? But, dude, set your team up for success. Having him throw the ball in that situation when your season's on the line, you're down by 10, 10 and a half minutes in the fourth quarter, no. Not going to work, dude, and it didn't. And then the defense for the Detroit Lions, 0 sacks. So obviously the defense been a talking point for most of the season because at one point we had 20 players on IR. A lot of them on the defense. And then went down to 16, I do believe. 16 guys on IR, all of them on defense. Yeah, you're really not going to have a lot of success. If you can't play defense in the playoffs, it's over. You have to play defense in the playoffs. Lions didn't. You give up 45 points and you don't commit a single sack on Jayden Daniels. And he's a mobile quarterback, which in the past, Lions have had a difficult time defending mobile quarterbacks. Look what this rookie quarterback did to you guys. Torched you, absolutely annihilated you, embarrassed you on your home field. 0 sacks for the Detroit Lions defense. That's inexcusable. You have to create pressure. They didn't. And you saw it, the lack of pass rush. When you have the third string guys, when you have the practice squad guys on there playing in the playoff game, it's not going to work out. And look, not trying to make excuses here. Next man up. Play football. You've been playing it all your lives. What's different here? Oh, it's a playoff game. Oh, I get it, but 16 guys on the IR, all of them on the defense. Yeah. This was suspect. Like I said, it's been a talking point all season long. We knew the Lions had difficulty with the defense. Lack of pass rush. When Aiden Hutchinson, your best defensive lineman, goes down, breaks his leg against the Dallas Cowboys. That was the start of the downfall on the defense. But the thing was, even with a depleted defense, we were still winning games. And then another point in this game, Amik Robertson breaks his arm early in this game. So at that point, yeah, the tone was set. That the Ford Field crowd, they were silent. They couldn't respond from that. They couldn't recover from that. That's your best defensive back at that point. And now he's gone because he broke his arm. So you already knew at that point that, okay, Lions defense, they are in trouble. 45 points, you lose this game. 0 sacks. And then the time of possession for Washington, 33 minutes and 59 seconds. They controlled the game. And our defense, you saw our defense. Giving up big plays. Oh, yeah, screenplay to Terry McLaurin. He runs it for 60-plus yards. Touchdown. Bye-bye. Oh, yeah, De'Ami Brown catches a long pass of, 50, 60-yard pass on a third down, which set up a scoring drive for Washington. Yeah, let's just let him catch the ball. You can't do that, man. Jaden Daniels. We got to talk about this guy. Rookie quarterback out of LSU. Absolutely phenomenal all season long. 22 out of 31. 299 yards in this game. Almost 300 yards passing. 2 touchdowns. He had 16 rushes for 51 yards. And that's where our lack of containment for mobile quarterbacks comes in. Our struggle against mobile quarterbacks continues after this game's over. We can't defend the mobile quarterback. And we play Baltimore next year on the road. Lamar Jackson. And we all know how that ended a couple years ago. So, defense was horrible. You give up 45 points. 0 sacks. You can't contain Jaden Daniels. This rookie just torched you, embarrassed you on your home field. What are you going to do? Turnovers by Jared Goff. Turnovers by the offense in general. Jameson Williams trying to make a play that's not there. Throws a pick, which stopped a touchdown for Washington. Stupid. And then Brian Robinson Jr. 15 carries, 77 yards, 2 touchdowns. Austin Eckler had a good game too. He had a long run for like 50-plus yards. So, and they were running up the middle. We couldn't stop it. Every time they ran up the middle, they were getting 8-plus yards every single time. Whether it was Brian Robinson Jr. or Austin Eckler. It didn't matter. We couldn't stop it. And then Jahmyr Gibbs, as I mentioned, 14 carries, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns. Why is he carrying the ball only 14 times in this game? Why? Like I said, this guy has had a hot hand over a month, arguably all season long, and he only runs the ball 14 times. I don't know what we were trying to do there. And then St. Brown, he had 8 receptions for 137 yards but 0 touchdowns. Why are we not getting that guy more involved in the game? Right? Sam Laporta, why? Yeah, it was bad. But I want to talk about that pick 6 by Jared Goff. So in that situation, you had 2 wide receivers open. You had Tim Patrick and Sam Laporta wide open in the same area. You try to throw it to Tim Patrick, right? Because he's further down the field, but you overthrow him. And they ran it back. So 2 guys wide open. Tim Patrick was unbelievable this year. Sam Laporta was great. He had a nice one-handed grab for a touchdown in that game. Probably the only highlight for the Detroit Lions in that game. But that's, how do you make that mistake? I mean, Jared Goff, people can say what they want. This guy's won an NFC Championship game. He's gone to the Super Bowl. He lost the Super Bowl. He's won playoff games. He led to our first playoff win in over 30 years. So I don't want to hear about Jared Goff can't win the big one because he's won big games. But, dude, can't do that. Pick 6, you got 2 guys wide open. You got to hit one of them. Can't overthrow them like that. So, horrible game for the Detroit Lions all around. Lions had 5 turnovers. Now, I said this earlier. 5 turnovers, you're not going to have success. 5. The Commanders, 0 turnovers. Just like the Chiefs, right? 0 turnovers. Crazy. They ended up winning the game. Oh, crazy concept there. And then, yeah, this game was very frustrating to watch. Am I recovered? A little bit. It's Tuesday. It happened Saturday, 3 days ago. We got to move on now, right? But it's just like the goal, the mentality was Super Bowl or bust. I think anyone can agree to that. After what happened in the NFC Championship game last year with the 49ers, we don't need to go into that. I exhausted enough on one of my episodes for Guys Time to Prize with that last year. Or earlier, yeah, last year with that. But man, dude, I mean, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. One word to describe this game, it's heartbreaking. So, get him next year, boys. It's going to be a lot tougher. The schedule looks brutal. But bad game by the Detroit Lions. So you had that. 5 turnovers. You're not going to win. Commanders, 0 turnovers. A completely flawless game by this team. I really hope they go to the Super Bowl. That would be awesome. So you had that game going on. And then now we got to go to Sunday. So 2 Saturday games, they're done and over with. The Sunday games now. We had the Eagles and the Rams. A little chilly in Philadelphia. It snowed a little bit, so it was wet. It was cold. Perfect football weather, right? Eagles, Rams. Eagles win this one, 28-22. The first drive for the Eagles, Hurts ran a 44-yard rushing touchdown, and then the extra point was missed by Jake Elliott, who's had problems this year missing extra points. He was 1 for 3 in this game for extra points, but then he was 3 for 3 in field goals. Crazy, right? How's that make sense? So completely flawless on field goals, but then extra points, he misses 2 of them in this game, and he's missed a handful of them all season long. Might cost him down the road. Jake Elliott, you gotta figure that out, my friend. But Jalen Hurts running 44 yards for a touchdown, setting it up for the Eagles, right? Saquon Barkley, second playoff game with the Philadelphia Eagles. 26 carries, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns. This guy, right now, best running back in the playoffs. There's no debate. This guy has ran over everybody. He scored multiple touchdowns in multiple games this year. This guy's awesome. So you had that. Matt Stafford, good old, Detroit Lions quarterback for many years. Now with the Rams. 26 for 44, 324 yards for Matthew Stafford in the cold, winter, snowy weather. 2 touchdowns, but now his record in cold, rain, snow weather, outside when it's snowy or raining or cold, he's 1-9 in those games now. Can't play outside. Record shows it. 1-9. Can't do it. Can't handle it. He's been inside all of his career. Many years with Detroit at Ford Field and now inside at LA. At SoFi Stadium where the Rams play. But outside, man, he just can't win. So you have that. The Rams defense in this game. 7 sacks. And you still lose. That's brutal. That can't do that. I mean, defense did everything they could and it just collapsed. Because the offense turned the ball over. We'll get to that in a couple seconds. The Eagles defense had 5 sacks in this game, so they got to Stafford a few times. Stafford, I do believe, fumbled one of those times as well. So turnover. Crazy, right? All these turnovers, seems like all these teams who commit turnovers or have turnovers lose the game. And the ones that don't have turnovers win the game. Wow. Crazy, right? So the passing game, 291 yards for the Rams versus 65 passing yards for the Eagles. But then the Eagles rushing attack, well, when you got Jalen Hurts and when you got Saquon Barkley, you know you're going to run the damn ball. And it's chilly, it's cold, it's snowy. It's a little wet out there in Philly this past weekend, or a couple nights ago. The rushing game, 285 yards for the Eagles to 111 for the Rams. So completely dominated. They controlled the clock. It was awesome for the Eagles. I mean, complete dominance on the running game from the Eagles against the Rams there. So now, since the Eagles and the Commanders, 2 division rivals, 2 division teams are going at for the NFC Championship game, it'll be the last time 2 teams in the same division play in the conference championship game. You have to go all the way back to the 2021 NFC Championship game where the Rams beat the 49ers 20-17. And they actually won the Super Bowl, Matthew Stafford's first in his career, versus the Bengals that year, 23-20. So that was the last time 2 teams in the same division competed or played in the NFC Championship game. So it's been a few years. So now the Eagles in this game, 0 turnovers. Do you see the pattern here? Do you see what's going on here? Rams had 2 turnovers, Kyren Williams fumble, Stafford, as I mentioned, a fumble loss, so those turnovers will kill you, especially in the playoffs. But the Eagles, 0 turnovers. So we had the Chiefs, 0 turnovers. You had the Commanders, 0 turnovers. The Eagles, 0 turnovers. What was the result of all those games? They won. Crazy concept. Don't turn the ball over. Be smart with the ball. Limit the mistakes. Look what happens. So you have that game. The NFC Championship game is set. You got the Commanders versus the Eagles. That's going to be a good one. That is the first game Sunday, this coming Sunday at 3 o'clock on Fox. So check that one out. It's going to be a good one. It's in Philadelphia, so it's going to be a little cold, but that'll be a very interesting one. Bryce will make his picks later on for the championship games this weekend. But we got to talk about the final divisional round playoff game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. This was advertised. You have 2 league MVPs going at it. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. You know, who's going to win it this year? Oh, Lamar. Oh, Josh Allen. Well, Josh Allen won this one. The Bills, Ravens. Bills win this one 27-25. Great game, but 3 turnovers by the Ravens. Again, do you see the pattern here? Do you see what's going on here? 3 turnovers by the Ravens. The Ravens lost this one because they couldn't protect the ball. They gave the ball away. They lost. Crazy. Lamar, interception, fumble, and then another fumble by Mark Andrews. And Mark Andrews, God bless his soul. I feel so bad for him because he did not have a good game. I mean, the fumble gave away. Another fumble gave away by Lamar Jackson, and he had an interception. So the postseason struggles continue for Lamar Jackson, and it's frustrating because I would love to see this guy go to the Super Bowl at least and compete in one. Maybe win one too. That'd be great. But he just cannot win a playoff game. You know, you lose the AFC Championship game last year against the Chiefs, and then the divisional round of the playoffs hasn't been too kindly to you. I mean, it's like, damn, man. Gotta figure it out. It's frustrating. And the Bills, 0 turnovers. Wow. They won. Wow. Crazy concept, man. Protect the damn ball. Josh Allen had 2 rushing touchdowns in this game. Yeah, where was that a couple weeks ago when I placed a parlay bet and he only had 1 rushing touchdown. But, you know, you gotta love sports betting, right? He went 16 for 22, so not the greatest, 127 yards, no passing touchdowns. They were up 21-10 at halftime, the Bills, so they were dominating this game. You know, the Ravens couldn't do anything. Well, when you turn the ball over a lot, it's not going to work. So you had that. Mark Andrews dropped a critical 2-point conversion, which would have tied the game. So you cannot – he's your best tight end. He's one of your star players on offense. The pass, okay, not the greatest pass, but it hit his hands. You got to catch it. It's the playoffs. You lose, you go home. You catch it, you're playing in overtime. It'd be 27-27, but you dropped it. So he had a fumble loss and a drop pass, which would have tied the game, a drop 2-point conversion, rather, to tie the game. Mark Andrews, God bless you, dude. I hope you're doing okay, because that's horrible. That's a horrible way to end the season. But, you know, the Ravens had a lot of opportunities to succeed in this game, and they just didn't do it. You know, they didn't win. They didn't compete. You know, you had all these opportunities, and so I want to talk about Derrick Henry. All right, I forgot to put it on my notes, but I'm looking up on my laptop right now. So Derrick Henry in this game against the Bills. You would think run heavy, right? Because last week against the Steelers, he ran 26 times for 186 yards and 2 touchdowns. But this time against the Bills, you only run it 16 times for 84 yards. He had a touchdown, but 16 carries with this beast of a man who is your running back, who is a linebacker playing running back, 6'5", 6'4", 250 pounds. Of man, of steel, and you don't give him the ball at least 30 times in this game. 16 carries for 84 yards against the Bills this last couple nights ago. I mean, this is like Jahmyr Gibbs. How come he's not getting the ball as much as he's used to? I mean, look at the Steelers, 26 carries. The Browns, a couple weeks ago, 20 carries. Texans, 27. Steelers again, 24. Am I missing something here? Over 100 yards all time. He had multiple touchdowns in those games too. Or he's at least had one touchdown in those games where he ran the ball over 20 times or 20 or more times. He only ran the ball 16 times in this game against the Bills in the divisional round of the playoffs for 84 yards and a touchdown. That was it. So where the hell was Derrick Henry? Who's calling these plays? Just like Jahmyr Gibbs. Where the hell was Jahmyr Gibbs? How come he's not getting the ball more often? How come Derrick Henry's not getting the ball more often? He is your best running back. He is your best player on that field. Well, besides Lamar Jackson, obviously. He is your rock. He sets the tone. He runs it only 16 times for 84 yards? I don't get it. So with this loss for the Ravens, again, Lamar Jackson, his postseason record all time, 3-5. He's 1-3 in the divisional round. His last win in the divisional round of the playoffs was against the Texans last year. And then just to throw it out there, because I saw it on the internet, so it's got to be real, right? But no, it's a legitimate source from NFL. Mark Sanchez, guy hasn't played in over 15 years, has more playoff wins, 4, than Lamar Jackson, 3. So, yeah, that's woo. And he led his team to 2 AFC championship games, Mark Sanchez did. Yeah, back when the Jets were actually decent. So, Lamar Jackson, I don't know. You gotta figure something out, dude, because that's bad. That's horrible. So, that was the divisional round of the playoffs. Very interesting. Very disappointing if you're a Lions fan, like myself. Very heartbreaking. Slowly going to recover. This week's going to be... It's going to be rough, but got to move on. So now we got the conference championship game set. The AFC championship game, the Bills and the Chiefs. So we got Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes once again in the playoffs. So the Bills and Chiefs this Sunday, CBS, 6:30 p.m. Check it out. Play some bets. Josh Allen all-time against the Mahomes. He's 0-3 versus Mahomes in the playoffs. So postseason football, Josh Allen, Mahomes. Mahomes has his number, 3-0. Josh Allen looking for that first win against Mahomes in the postseason. He has a chance to do it Sunday night. Kansas City has a 4-2 record all time versus the Bills in the playoffs. That helps them out a lot. Mahomes beat Josh Allen twice in the divisional round of the playoffs, the 2021 and 2023 seasons. He beat him twice in the divisional round. Obviously, you remember, I do believe it was the 2023 divisional round where it was that overtime game and the Chiefs got the ball and the Bills didn't see the field at all. It was the 2021 game, excuse me, because that's when they changed it. It's like each team gets a possession, but great game, went to overtime, 2 faces of the NFL, 2 great quarterbacks, and one team got the ball and the other team didn't even have a chance to score. So that's when they changed the rules. Each team in overtime has a chance for a possession. And, yeah, it's been great since. So, Mahomes beats Allen twice in the divisional round of playoffs, 2021-23 seasons. And then Mahomes beat him in the 2020 AFC Championship game, sent him to the Super Bowl that year. So, Mahomes has Josh Allen's number. Mahomes is 16-3 in the playoffs. Josh Allen is 7-5. So a lot of success for Patrick Mahomes. Definitely has Josh Allen's number. Does Josh Allen have what it takes to finally beat? Does he finally have an opportunity to beat Patrick Mahomes? I'll make that pick in a couple seconds here because we got to talk about the NFC Championship game. So the Commanders and the Eagles. The last time a rookie quarterback played a conference championship game, it was the 2022 season. Brock Purdy versus the Eagles in that game. The Eagles won that one, the 2022 NFC Championship game, beat the 49ers 31-7, but then they lost to the Super Bowl versus the Chiefs 38-35. That was a very good game there. Super Bowl 57. The Eagles lost that one to the Chiefs. And then Washington, their first NFC title game since 1991. They ended up going to the Super Bowl that year and beating the Bills 37-24. You know, Joe Gibbs, iconic Joe Gibbs, he was the coach for the Washington Redskins at the time, now the Commanders, but he was the coach for Washington. And then Marv Levy, the guy went to 4 straight Super Bowls, did not win one of them. I mean, that poor guy, I mean, just give me one, at least. 4 straight Super Bowls, 0 wins. So, a lot going on in this game as well. Two division teams going at, like I said, last time we saw this in the NFC Championship game is the 2021 NFC Championship game where the Rams beat the 49ers 20-17, and the Rams ended up going on to win the Super Bowl against the Bengals that year. Matt Stafford's first, by the way. So this is interesting. You got Jalen Hurts and Jayden Daniels. That'll be interesting. You got Saquon Barkley. You got Terry McLaurin. You got a lot of stars in this game. So now, with that being said, the Bryce has to make his picks for the NFC Championship game and the AFC Championship game. So the NFC Championship game, since it's the first one coming on Sunday, 3 o'clock on Fox. You got the Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles. Who's going to win this one? I like the Philadelphia Eagles. They're playing at home. It would be awesome for the Washington Commanders to win this game. It would be amazing for Jayden Daniels to compete in the Super Bowl as a rookie quarterback. But that Eagles team at home, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, that offensive line, that defense, they're going to find a way to contain Jayden Daniels. Unlike the Lions, Eagles defense are going to shut down Jayden Daniels. I got the Eagles winning this one at home. My heart wants to see the Commanders, but I got to go. My mind says the Eagles. So I got the Eagles winning that one, the NFC Championship game. They're going on to Super Bowl 59. And now the AFC Championship game. You got the Bills and the Chiefs. Chiefs playing at home. Home field advantage. Josh Allen, 0-3 all-time in the postseason against Patrick Mahomes. 16-3 record for Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. 7-5 record in the playoffs for Josh Allen. Who's going to win this one? I'm going with the Bills. The Bills on the road will beat the Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. Finally, Josh Allen gets his first win against Patrick Mahomes. So I got the Bills beating the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. So your Super Bowl 59 matchup, according to the Bryce, is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles representing the NFC, and then the Buffalo Bills representing the AFC. That's going to be your Super Bowl matchup. Eagles, Bills, book it right now. Place some bets. Those are the Bryce's picks. So you have that. And with that being said, we got to talk about a few more things. So this past weekend, Detroit sports. This past Saturday, January 18, 2025. It was not a good day. It was a horrible day for Detroit sports. So the Pistons, Saturday, lost 125-121 to the Phoenix Suns. Very close game there, but just couldn't seal the deal. You had that going on. The Red Wings lost 5-1 against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Got absolutely annihilated. After winning 5-2 a few nights earlier against the defending Stanley Cup champions, the Florida Panthers, on the road. You got absolutely annihilated there. And I think they lost on Sunday night, too, the Red Wings, against the Dallas Stars, another good team. Brutal road schedule for the Red Wings. But they lost Saturday, 5-1 against Tampa Bay Lightning. You have that. The Lions. Okay, we talked too much about this, but they lost 45-31 against the Washington Commanders. The last time all of these teams, the Pistons, the Red Wings, and the Lions, last time all these teams won on the same day, you have to go all the way back to November 12th of 2000. I was 4 years old. I am 28 years old right now. I was 4 years old last time the Wings, the Pistons, and the Lions won on the same day. So the Wings beat the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. Yeah, the Mighty Ducks, the best logo, the best jerseys of all time. They beat them that day 3-2. The Pistons beat the Supersonics. Yeah, the Seattle Supersonics are not even a franchise anymore. That's how long it's been. They beat them 101-92, and the Lions beat the Falcons 13-10. So this weekend was horrible for Michigan sports. Jamal Hill got knocked out. He's a Michigan-based athlete. He got knocked out by Yuri Prochaska. So yeah, it was just a horrible weekend for Detroit sports. A weekend us Detroiters, us Michiganders, we want to forget altogether, right? But yeah, I saw that and I was just like, damn, that's sad. So you have that, and then now UFC 311, decent card. I mean, the fights were good. Islam Makhachev retained the UFC lightweight championship, first round submission against Renato Moicano, late substitution because Arman Tsarukyan got hurt. So he stepped up to the plate and he got submitted 4 minutes in the first round. So Islam Makhachev, 15-fight winning streak, right behind Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva's got a 16-fight winning streak. So he's moving up to legendary status. His fourth title defense, Islam Makhachev, and it's successful. 27-1 record. Guy's amazing. You had that. That was the main event. The co-main event, you had the bantamweight title on the line. You had Morel Dvalishvili successfully defending his bantamweight championship in the co-main event against Umar Nurmagomedov. He was undefeated coming to this fight. He's got his first loss now. That was a good fight. The light heavyweight bout on the main card, you had Yuri Prochaska knocking out Jamal Hill. Like I said, Michigan-based athlete. So yeah, it was just a bad weekend for Michigan sports. So you had that going on. Yeah, Jalton Almeida with a knockout win. He's 22-3 in his career. Kevin Holland lost in the first round by submission. He's 26-13, won no contest. But I'm pretty sure we'll see him probably on the next card or probably on March's card because he is very active. But he's on a losing streak now. I do believe that's his third loss in a row. So hopefully he can get back in the win column. He's exciting, but when you get submitted, multiple times, it doesn't look good for you. So UFC 311 was this weekend, the first pay-per-view of UFC of 2025. It was great. It definitely helped a little bit after watching the Lions absolutely play like trash Saturday night. But yeah, lots of sports on. Detroit sports, god-awful. But yeah, UFC, it's always there to make us feel better a little bit. So with that being said, lots of football, lots of sports, UFC 311, first UFC pay-per-view 2025, but we're done. So thank you for joining me on this edition of Guys Time with the Bryce. You already know the drill. YouTube channel at Guys Time with the Bryce. Subscribe it. Spread the word. The audio version of this episode will be available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Check this one out. You guys have been amazing. It's Tuesday. Enjoy the rest of the week. Watch the AFC Championship game and the NFC Championship game. You got Pistons on. You got the Red Wings on. You got all the rest of NBA and the rest of the NHL on. UFC, there's a fight night coming up in a couple of weeks, so check that one out. I think Israel Adesanya is fighting, so that'll be interesting to watch that. But yeah, stay safe, my friends. It's freezing here, by the way, in Michigan. I don't know how it is everywhere else, but it's freezing today. I went outside earlier today. Man, dude, I felt like an icicle. I froze. Like, after being outside for only like 15 seconds, I was freezing my ass off. So, Michiganders, especially Detroiters, everybody in the state of Michigan, stay safe out there. Stay warm. Be careful. But yeah, watch the AFC and NFC championship games this weekend. Sunday. Both games are on Sunday. No Saturday games. So, both on Sunday. NFC championship game, 3 o'clock on Fox. The AFC championship game, 6:30 on CBS. Place your bets. I got the Eagles. I got the Bills competing in Super Bowl 59. Those are the Bryce's picks. Let me know how I did. You guys are amazing. Enjoy the rest of the day. Check out this episode. And stay safe out there, my friends. All right, the Bryce is out. Have a good one, guys.